Sloth. It's one of the seven deadly sins. If you're lazy, well, you're going down there, unfortunately. And I've noticed that many big franchise films in Hollywood nowadays suffer from that sin, or people that commit that sin. Because my word, are some franchise films nowadays incredibly lazy. Franchise films are sometimes the most churned out garbage, and all they do is just rely on nostalgia to make you like it, and it's getting so sick and tiring. Of course, there is the odd exception, like some franchise films are a surprise, and I really like them. But of course, we get stuff like The Exorcist Believer, where it's just so bad, and all it does is rely on your nostalgia. It has no place to exist. It's just an incredibly lazy film. And on Friday, I went to go see The Strangers, Chapter 1. And it was a decision that I made because I put a poll on my Instagram saying, what should I see, Strangers Chapter 1 or If? And you all voted If. But the reason I changed my mind and saw The Strangers is because I saw the reviews and I thought to myself, there's no way. There's no way it's that bad. Now, I saw the trailer for The Strangers Chapter 1 quite a few times when I was going to the cinema, and I thought the trailers were fine. Like, I didn't think they were anything brilliant. I thought there were a couple moments in the trailers that were a little bit effective. So I thought, at most, The Strangers Chapter 1 would be a solid continuation of the story. And then I found out that this is actually the start of a new trilogy that's supposed to be coming out entirely this year. Yeah. Apparently, the trilogy was shot in like 52 days, and we're getting all three movies this year, which is crazy. I thought getting a random horror trilogy with X, Pearl, and Maxine was mad, but I guess we're getting this now. And I can't help but feel very intrigued to see what they do with the future movies. I know it sounds weird, but I'm actually really interested to see what happens. But on Friday, I went to go see Strangers. It was a pretty packed theatre, surprisingly. It was one of the smallest screens at my cinema, but pretty packed. And wow, 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 wow. Yeah, this movie's awful. The reviews ain't lying, unfortunately. The Strangers Chapter 1 is what I consider one of the laziest movies ever. And I mean that because it's not because it's like awfully directed or anything. In fact, that's probably like the 1 mile praise I'll give the film. It's not badly directed. Renny Harlin is not a bad director. He can do some good shots in a movie, and he does it here. It's just the fact that it is basically a shittier version of the original Strangers. Excuse my language there, but this is just a carbon copy of Strangers 2008, but done worse. Like, I don't think the original Strangers, which I watched for the first time a couple of weeks ago, I didn't think it was anything like brilliant or anything like that, but I thought it was solid. It was a good suspenseful house invasion movie. And this movie tries to be like that, but it's just not. As I said, it's just a carbon copy of the original Strangers, but done 10 times worse. The characters are basically the same, apart from the fact that it's not a girlfriend and boyfriend whose relationships are on the ropes because the girlfriend refused the boyfriend's proposal. In this one, they're not married, but they want to get married. And the only added thing that could be interesting is that the boyfriend has asthma. Geez, I wonder if that's going to come back later in the movie somehow. And the story is basically just them in the house, the strangers try to come in and kill them. That is literally the plot of this movie. And the plot of the original Strangers. That there's nothing different here. And not only is the story an exact carbon copy, but they even just straight up rehash moments from the original movie. Like, the bit where they're in the car and it's getting smashed by one of the strangers. That is in this movie. That is in here. And then there's a bit where in the woods. And then there's a bit where they're in the shed. And then they have a shotgun. It's literally stuff from the original Strangers. But again, it's done worse because the characters are even more boring. And the movie commits the biggest sin that any horror movie can commit. And that's by just not being that scary. This movie is not scary whatsoever. Well, I'll give it this. And I'm going to get into spoilers with this film, so if you don't want spoilers for this film, then don't watch it. Wait till you watch the film, and then you can watch my review after. If you don't care if you've seen the movie, then watch it. But anyway, yeah, the one suspenseful scene in this movie, it's a bit where the girlfriend first sees one of the strangers, she runs away, hides in a room, and locks the door, and she sits in a corner. And we just get this, like, 40-second uncut shot of her, like, crying in the corner, and we just slowly zoom in. And all you can hear is doors being opened and kicked down, and people walking through the house, and the house is creaking. And we still focus on the girlfriend. That was actually a pretty decent moment where I was a little bit tense. Like, there's moments like that which could have been really cool. But unfortunately, when we do nearly have good moments of suspense like that, they're completely ruined. This is due to three things: jump scares, music, and character decisions. We'll get to that last one later because I want to have a good rant about that. Jump scares, I mean, what more do you want me to say? Nearly every scene in this movie has that annoying flipping noise, and I'm getting absolutely sick and frigging tired of it. Why is this continuing to happen in horror movies? To get a cheap scare out of the audience, they just do a loud, and I'm getting sick of it. It ruins all the tension in the movie. Second thing, the music. Now, the music's not bad in this movie. It's kind of the most generic music I've heard, but it's not terrible. But they add in music in what could be very tense scenes, and it just ruins it. For example, and this is in the trailer, but the bit where the girlfriend's in the shower and one of the strangers is outside staring at her, that's done better in the trailer than the actual movie. And then there's this bit where the girlfriend's playing a piano, and we're like behind her, and we can see like the reflection of one of the strangers sitting staring at her. And it was kind of a little goofy for me with all the piano music, just him like staring silently at her. It's just moments like that that were completely ruined by music. And now thirdly, character decisions. Now, if the characters weren't boring enough, they're made even more unlikable and uninteresting because of how stupid they are. Now get ready for me to go on a bit of a tangent here, because I've got to speak about some of the moments in this film that really, really aggravated me. So, here's the first bit. There's a bit where the boyfriend is in the woods, and the strangers are in there looking for him and his girlfriend. Now, as I said earlier, this guy has asthma. And he starts to have a very, very mild asthma attack. And when I mean mild, he's not even struggling to breathe. It's like just very deep breaths, but he's not even struggling to breathe. He can hold out for a few more minutes to get to safety. Now, he dropped his inhaler, by the way, earlier. I forgot to mention. So he sits down next to a tractor, and all the strangers are looking for him. Now, when you're having a mild asthma attack, and there's three people in the woods trying to kill you, what do? Do you A, stay as quiet as possible to make sure that they don't hear you? Or B, make as much noise as possible making a makeshift inhaler so all the strangers can hear you? If you chose A, you're an idiot, because it's B. The guy literally finds a random water bottle, very conveniently placed by the way, like pours all the water out, scrunches it up, and just... Why did I do that? I'm gonna get cancelled now. But yeah, he makes like a makeshift inhaler, and he uses that. But he's scrunching the bottle and making all this noise, and lo and behold, the strangers hear him. What a surprise. What? The second moment, in probably what is the one smart move by the protagonist in this movie. The girlfriend like hides under some leaves and sticks, and the stranger does that cliche thing where staring right at her but you can't see him, the music swells up, and then they walk away. Like 3 seconds after the stranger walks away, the girlfriend whips out her phone and starts calling 911, and starts talking decent volume to them. No, the stranger is like not even like a yard away from you, like not even like 10 yards away from you right now. It can hear you so clearly. What are you doing? And then the dumbest moment. This is the dumbest one. So they rehash that bit in the car where they think they're going to escape, but then one of the strangers keeps smashing the car up with his truck. Now, the boyfriend has a shotgun with real shotgun bullets, and he has it loaded and everything, and he has it on his lap. And the stranger keeps smashing the car into the tree, and the boyfriend can easily pick up the gun and blast this guy in the face. But because he's absolutely stupid, he doesn't do that. He just tells his girlfriend to get out of the car and run away. And he's like, go, leave me, go, run, baby, run. And what a surprise. He decides to finally pick up the damn shotgun and shoot the stranger. But what a surprise, the stranger's already gone. You idiot! Just pick up the gun and shoot him in the face! What are you doing? It's just moments like that where I really wanted to shout at the screen and just say, what are you doing? Are you dumb? Are you thick in the head? Like, these are the most stupidest decisions to make in this situation. How stupid are these characters? And another thing that makes these bits even less scary is that they just reuse scenes from better movies. There's scares in here where I was watching them and I thought, that movie. And another spoiler here, there's a bit where they're crawling under the house and the girlfriend puts her hand on a nail and it stabs through her. And she can't make a noise because the strangers will hear them. And I thought to myself, Quiet Place. But Quiet Place actually does that moment better. They just reuse moments from better movies for scares. And also, can I just say something else about the story? This trilogy is supposed to explain why the strangers do what they do. And by the way, in the trailers they say like how the strangers become the strangers. Well, it makes it feel like it's a prequel. This isn't a prequel. This is not a prequel at all. You can tell off the back it's just not a prequel. So don't go into that. It's a sequel or it's like a few years after the first one. I don't know, but it's not a prequel. So yeah. We never like get any hints about why the strangers do what they do. I know we've got 2 more movies, but you should at least like plant seeds. The only like things I can gather is that they don't care if they die, maybe. Because there's this bit where the guy has one of the strangers at gunpoint, and by the way, another stupid scene again. Like, the girl keeps, like, taunting, laughing at her, shoving the gun in her face. And the guy just doesn't shoot! Just shoot her! Oh my god!
Shoot her! Shoot her! How about no?
But there's no hints. There's no hints to why they do what they do. And the movie ends on the most sequel-baity way I've ever seen. To the point where it was just like, you know how in Fast X where it ends at that random point? And it felt so anticlimactic. That's how this ending felt as well. But as I said, I'm really interested to see what they do and how they stretch this out. I really want to know what they're going to do. To calm down a little bit, technical-wise, this movie's fine. It's a decently directed movie. There's nothing overly bad about shots or anything. Renny Harlin does know how to direct a movie. And he can get some really nice shots, and he does so with this movie, I will say. Editing-wise, amateur. This is some of the worst editing I've seen. Cuts are just way too quick. They're just way too quick. And they're even so lazy. If you didn't think this movie was lazy enough, they just reuse shots that we see seconds earlier. There's this bit where the girlfriend's in the woods. She sees one of the strangers. And they just use a reaction shot that they used like 20 seconds earlier. How lazy can you be? I will say back to the direction, there were a few awful camera movements, like the opening shot is this drone shot and it's shaking all around and it just looked terrible. And as I said again with the music, it's not bad sounding music, but they just really need to calm down their use of it. And finally, the performances are a mixed bag. I will say, Madelaine Petsch, I think that's how you say it now, I apologise if I said it wrong. She was actually really good in this film. Really good. She produced some really good emotions. She actually did a decent job of making her character look scared and frightened.
Why are you doing this to us? Because you're here.
I cannot say the same for Freud Gutierrez, though, as the boyfriend. I don't know what this guy was doing, but he was so bland. Like, there's moments where the characters are looking like they're gonna die, and he doesn't look scared whatsoever at all. There's a bit where they are literally about to probably die, and he doesn't really look that scared. He cries a bit, and that's it. It was just a very lifeless performance. And also what doesn't help is that these two actors just don't have that much chemistry whatsoever. The relationship just doesn't feel that real, unfortunately. But the actors playing the strangers, they did a good job. I praised that in the first film. And they do a good job here with their movements, the way they turn their heads and stuff, and the way they do the weapons and the kills. I thought they were actually really creepy here. But despite its many positives, The Strangers Chapter 1 is the laziest movie I've seen all year. It basically rehashes the story of the original film, reuses moments from the original and better films, has less interesting characters, worse scares, worse flipping tension building moments, amazingly dumb character decisions. It's decently directed and the female actress's performance was really good. But that's all I can really say, unfortunately. If you're a big fan of The Strangers, because I know some people stand by that film and love it. If you love that film, fair enough, you go ahead and enjoy it. I don't really think you'll like this one, but if you do, that's fair enough, you enjoy it as much as you want. For me, I would not suggest this film whatsoever. If you really want to watch it, and you have to see it, like, wait till it comes out on streaming, or if your cinema's doing like a discount day, maybe. But just don't waste your time with this one. It's incredibly dumb, shallow, lazy. It's just really bad, man. It's really bad. I hated this movie. I wish I saw If. I'm going to give The Strangers a whopping, monumental 1.5 out of 10. This movie was terrible. Wow, did I go on a really good rant about that. And guys, that's it for the end of this review. I hope you all enjoyed. If you have seen The Strangers Chapter 1, let me know your thoughts on it in the comments. Did you like it? Did you not? Let me know. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Have a good day. And see you later.